onto Iron Man 2. So the main issue with the first Iron Man was that you had a kind of disparity between, on the one hand, the characters who were kind of interesting in a funny and snappy and comic way, and on the other hand, the hardware. So it was like there was two movies going on. One of them was the movie in which Robert Downey Jr. goes and goes, and Jeff Bridges comes on, and then at the end it turns into they both put on the suit, and the minute they put on the suit and start hitting each other, I'm not so interested anymore, because that's just like Transformers, only not quite Transformers.
Isn't that what everyone else is waiting for, though?
Well, obviously, if you're going to see a film called Iron Man, there is a certain amount of, I would like to, you'd be hard-pressed...
A man made of iron?
Yes, you'd be hard-pressed to make the movie that I would want to see, which is the movie in which Robert Downey Jr. never puts on the suit, but literally just sits there going... Anyway, so the story this time is, so successful has the Iron Man suit become that the Americans have decided that, in fact, it is a weapon that must be handed over to the American government. He doesn't want to cooperate. As he says, I mentioned before, he says, I've successfully privatised world peace. Meanwhile, his argument for why he is okay looking after the weapon, he says it's a suit, they say it's a weapon, is because nobody else has technology that is in any way comparable. Therefore, it's not like anybody else could take over this technology. Little does he know that Mickey Rourke, as an evil Ruski, Ivan, is, even as he speaks, developing his own Iron Man suit, because it turns out that Mickey Rourke's father, in the past, was involved in the original design of Iron Man. Here's a clip.
You come from a family of thieves and butchers. And now, like all guilty men, try to rewrite your own history. And you forget all the lives the Stark family has destroyed.
Speaking of thieves, where did you get this design?
My father, Anton Vanko.
Oh, I never heard of him.
My father is the reason you're alive.
The reason I'm alive is because you had a shot, you took it, you missed.
Did I?
So, from then on, you understood what was going on in that clip, didn't you?
No, I had no idea at all.
Well, Mickey... Didn't I explain it and set it up? Mickey Rourke is the Ruski.
Yeah, I got that bit.
Yeah, and it turns out that his father was basically done over, which is what he's claiming, by Robert Downey Jr.'s father, that he was involved in the original blueprint, and now he wants the suit back. So now, at the beginning of the movie, it's directed by Jon Favreau, who you'll remember, of course, was the actor who we first got to know through Swingers and Made, with Vince Vaughn, and subsequently turned out you know who he is.
Yeah,
you do. You've seen him in Couples Retreat. You can picture Jon Favreau.
I couldn't. If I bumped into him, I wouldn't know him.
Okay, fine. Well, anyway,
describe him to me. What's he look like?
What I was going to say is he's the larger gentleman.
Yeah,
he's middle-aged.
Yeah. What's he look like?
He looks like he looks not unlike James Gandolfini.
Oh, okay.
Okay, fine. So, but if you go up to James Gandolfini and say you're Jon Favreau, you're in trouble. And the beginning of the movie is directed in a way that was very sort of snappy and funny, and basically was all characters talking over each other in which was dialogue heavy way, and it was literally and then every now and then we'd stop and we go over to Mickey Rourke. I am Ruski. I am Mickey Rourke. I have funny facial hair. I haven't quite decided how to do my beard. And there is a couple of moments. Incidentally, if you're watching Iron Man, watch Mickey Rourke's hair and glasses for glaring continuity errors, because it's clear that even on a big budget movie like this, and I know there've been talks about reshoots, it has been impossible to make continuity with Mickey Rourke's facial hair and glasses arrangement, because he has what can only be described as anarcho hair. I mean, it's not like the hair on his head seems to grow out of the normal part of his body. It's just peculiar. It's a strange thing. Anyway, so at the beginning of it, there's all the character-driven stuff, which I like, and it's funny and it's witty, and Robert Downey Jr. somehow has grabbed hold of this role of this character who's got all these resources and is very intelligent, but is also very flippant, and is enjoying himself much too much, and is doing it very well. However, there is this kind of behemoth coming up behind him, which is the sense that this is Iron Man 2, and what you're going to need, therefore, is special effects climaxes. And about halfway through the film, you get this great big special effects set pieces involving Formula One race cars and battling suits and effectively what are modern day lightsabers. It's Mickey Rourke's character has these strings of electricity which he swishes around and cuts cars in half with, and that's fine. But as the movie continues, and it's quite a long movie, the law of diminishing returns starts to apply, and it starts to more and more turn into the great big hardware movie that I don't want it to be. But that said, even whilst it was being a great big hardware movie, the hardware is directed with a certain amount of vim, Characters come and then disappear and then go away and then turn up, and then Scarlett Johansson's character turns up purely, it seems to me, for the for the purpose of being Scarlett Johansson and turning up and kicking some butt and then looking kind of hot and like Scarlett Johansson and then disappearing off again. And then there's a character that turns up, which is Samuel Jackson, he's sort of there and he's sort of in it. The whole thing starts to fall apart. But what the time at which it works is the scenes which have Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow, and I have to say occasionally the scenes with him and Mickey Rourke, in which they are characters talking across each other, snapping at each other, crabbing at each other, being prickly with each other, being funny with each other, in which the script is written in a way which belies the fact that it is in the end a great big blockbuster franchise movie. So overall, it is all over the place, and as the movie progresses, it is increasingly all over the place. It starts at a level of conversation and escalates to a level of shouting and explosions and throwing everything at the screen because we can. At its best, it has a small number of... I haven't even mentioned the Sam Rockwell character. At its best, it has a small number of characters. At its worst, it has more characters than it knows how to deal with. And you think, for example, of what happened with the Spider-Man movies, in which suddenly there are characters that they have to bring in. Oh, we haven't had that guy in for a while, we have to bring him in. So it rambles, and it's incoherent, and it's messy, and it's shambolic, and it is, in the end...
A bit like this programme.
A pile-up, but an enjoyable pile-up. And enjoyable because at the heart of all the hardware and all the special effects and all the stuff, there is Robert Downey Jr. going... and Gwyneth Paltrow going... And I still like that gag.